Once upon a time, there was a kind teacher named Miss Lily who taught at Sunnydale Elementary School. She loved her students dearly and always tried to make learning fun. One sunny morning, as Miss Lily was setting up her classroom, a new student arrived. Her name was Sarah, and she had moved to Sunnydale with her mom, Mrs. Green. Sarah was shy but very smart, and Miss Lily knew they would become good friends. As the days went by, Sarah became one of Miss Lily's favorite students. She was polite, always did her homework, and helped other kids in class. But there was something mysterious about Sarah that no one knew. One afternoon, during recess, Sarah found a beautiful snake in the schoolyard. Instead of being scared, she gently picked it up and carried it to Miss Lily. The teacher was surprised but impressed by Sarah's bravery and love for animals. However, not everyone in Sunnydale was as kind-hearted as Miss Lily. Some kids started teasing Sarah, calling her Snake Girl. It made her sad, but she never showed it. One day, a substitute teacher, Miss Stone, came to Sunnydale. She was strict and didn't understand Sarah's love for nature. When she saw Sarah with a small snake in her bag, she got very angry. Miss Stone punished Sarah by keeping her in during recess and calling Mrs. Green to complain. Sarah was devastated. She felt misunderstood and alone. Miss Lily tried to defend Sarah, but Miss Stone wouldn't listen. The whole school seemed to turn against Sarah, except for a few friends like Tommy and Emily, who stood by her side. Meanwhile, Miss Lily decided to investigate why Sarah loved snakes so much. She visited Sarah's home and met Mrs. Green, who revealed the secret. Sarah's father had been a famous herpetologist who had passed away. Sarah had inherited his love for snakes. Armed with this knowledge, Miss Lily went to the principal and convinced him to give Sarah a chance to explain herself. At a school assembly, Sarah bravely stood up and shared her story. She talked about her father and how much she missed him. The students listened in silence, realizing how wrong they had been about Sarah. They apologized for teasing her and promised to be more understanding. From that day on, Sarah became a hero at Sunnydale Elementary. Miss Lily continued to be her favorite teacher, and together they taught the school about kindness, acceptance, and the beauty of nature. And as for Miss Stone, she learned a valuable lesson too: never judge someone without knowing their story. And so, in Sunnydale, where kindness and understanding triumphed, Sarah and Miss Lily's story became a cherished memory for years to come. Miss Lily thought the school assembly would bring peace, but things were far from over. Though most of the students started treating Sarah with kindness, a few troublemakers weren't ready to let it go. Among them was a boy named Jack. He was known for his pranks, and he decided Sarah was still a perfect target. One rainy day, Jack brought a fake snake to class and tossed it onto Sarah's desk when she wasn't looking. When Sarah saw it, she screamed, not because she was scared, but because she thought someone had hurt a real snake. The class burst into laughter, but Miss Lily's face turned red with anger. "Jack, come here right now," she said firmly. Jack dragged his feet to the front of the class, muttering under his breath, "Do you think this is funny?" Miss Lily asked, holding up the fake snake. Jack shrugged. "It's just a joke," he said, but Miss Lily wasn't having it. "This isn't a joke. It's bullying," she said. "You stay after school to clean the science lab as punishment." Jack glared at Sarah, blaming her for his trouble. That evening, as he cleaned the science lab, he noticed something strange. On a high shelf was a jar labeled King Cobra Venom. His curiosity got the better of him, and he climbed up to take a closer look. Just as he reached for the jar, it slipped from his fingers and shattered on the floor. Jack panicked, thinking he had released deadly poison. He bolted from the lab, his heart racing, but what he didn't know was that the jar was a harmless replica for teaching. The next day, rumors spread like wildfire. Some kids whispered that Jack had unleashed real snakes in the school. Others said they saw shadows moving in the halls at night. Jack, still shaken, refused to come to school. Meanwhile, Sarah started noticing unusual things. Her pet snake, Sunny, seemed agitated, slithering back and forth in its glass tank. At school, Sarah heard faint hissing sounds that no one else seemed to notice. Miss Lily tried to keep the class focused, but even she couldn't ignore the strange feeling in the air. One afternoon, while Sarah stayed behind to help clean the classroom, the lights flickered. "Miss Lily," Sarah whispered, "something's wrong." Before Miss Lily could respond, they heard a loud thud from the hallway. They froze, staring at the door. Slowly, it creaked open, and there, in the dim light, was a large snake. It wasn't one Sarah recognized, and it moved with an intelligence that sent shivers down her spine. Sunny, who had been in her bag, slithered out and faced the snake. The two seemed to communicate in a way no one could understand. Sarah felt a strange connection, as if her mind was touching theirs. Miss Lily grabbed a broom, ready to defend her student, but Sarah held up her hand. "Wait," she said. "It won't hurt us." The snake's eyes locked onto Sarah's, and for a moment, everything went silent. Then it turned and slithered away into the dark hall. "What just happened?" Miss Lily asked, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Sarah replied, "but I think it was looking for something or someone." Miss Lily knew they couldn't ignore this. She decided to call Mrs. Green, hoping she might have answers. But when she dialed, Mrs. Green's voice sounded urgent. "Sarah, listen to me," she said. "Your father's work wasn't just about studying snakes. He protected something powerful. And now, it might be waking up." Sarah's heart pounded. What was her mom talking about? What had her father been hiding? The next day, Sarah found a strange journal hidden in her dad's old things. It was filled with drawings of snakes, maps, and a mysterious symbol. At the back of the book were the words, "Beware the serpent's ear." Sarah's hands trembled as she closed the journal. The words, "Beware the serpent's ear," echoed in her mind. What did it mean? Could it have something to do with her? Miss Lily sat beside Sarah, her calm presence comforting the girl. "We'll figure this out," Miss Lily said. "You're not alone in this." Together, they examined the journal. The maps showed a forest on the edge of Sunnydale. There was a marked spot labeled the Sacred Nest. Sarah's curiosity burned brighter than her fear. Mrs. Green arrived at the school, carrying an old wooden box. "It's time I told you everything," she said. Sarah and Miss Lily listened intently as Mrs. Green explained the truth. "Your father wasn't just a scientist, he was the protector of an ancient snake lineage. These snakes are no ordinary creatures, they're guardians of balance in the natural world. One of them, the Serpent King, was captured long ago by those who wanted to use its power. Your father hid the key to its prison, ensuring it couldn't fall into the wrong hands. Sarah's eyes widened. The key, where is it? Mrs. Green opened the wooden box, revealing a pendant shaped like a snake, coiled around a gemstone. It's this, she said. And it seems the Serpent King is awakening, calling for its heir, you. Sarah felt a rush of emotions, fear, responsibility, and an odd sense of belonging. What do I do? She asked. Mrs. Green pointed to the map. You must take the key to the sacred nest. The Serpent King will know what to do next. Miss Lily insisted on coming along. You'll need someone to watch your back, she said, determined. That night, under a full moon, Sarah, Miss Lily, and Mrs. Green ventured into the forest. The air was thick with an eerie calm, and shadows danced in the moonlight. Sarah clutched the pendant tightly, its gemstone glowing faintly in her hand. As they neared the sacred nest, the ground began to rumble. From the darkness emerged the large snake Sarah had seen before. It bowed its head, as if welcoming her. Behind it, other snakes appeared, their movements forming a path to a massive stone altar. On the altar was a cage made of shimmering light. Inside, a magnificent snake, larger than any Sarah had ever seen, lay coiled. Its golden scales glowed softly, and its eyes held a wisdom that seemed to span centuries. The Serpent King, Mrs. Green whispered. Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding. She placed the pendant on the altar, and the gemstone pulsed with light. The cage began to dissolve, and the Serpent King slowly uncoiled, its gaze fixed on Sarah. Child of the Protector, a voice echoed in Sarah's mind. It was deep and calm, but filled with power. You have proven your heart is pure. You honor your father's legacy. The Serpent King lowered its head to Sarah, and she instinctively reached out to touch it. A surge of warmth spread through her, filling her with a sense of unity with the world around her. The other snakes hissed softly, almost like a song, as the Serpent King spoke. Again, the balance of nature must be preserved. You, Sarah, are the new protector. Sarah nodded, feeling a newfound strength and purpose. I'll do my best, she said. The Serpent King rose, its golden light fading as it disappeared into the forest. The other snakes followed, leaving Sarah, Miss Lily, and Mrs. Green standing in awe. As they walked back home, Sarah felt different, braver, stronger, and more connected to the world around her. Miss Lily smiled at her. You've taught us all an important lesson, Sarah, she said. Courage isn't just about facing danger. It's about standing up for what's right, even when it's hard. Life at Sunnydale Elementary changed after that. Sarah's classmates treated her with newfound respect, and even Jack apologized for his behavior. Sarah continued to care for snakes and teach others about their importance. She often visited the forest, knowing the Serpent King was always watching over her. Miss Lily remained her biggest supporter, and Mrs. Green shared more stories about her father's adventures. In time, Sarah realized that being the protector wasn't a burden, it was a gift. And as she grew, she vowed to honor her father's legacy by protecting the balance of nature and teaching others to do the same. And so, Sarah's story became legend in Sunnydale, a tale of bravery, kindness, and the power of embracing who you truly are.